Have you ever heard of the string matching algorithm called KMP? If you have, you might have found it very daunting to understand the intuition behind this algorithm. KMP is a string matching algorithm wherein you find all the occurrences of a substring for a given string S. In this video, we will be looking into a concept which is used in KMP algorithm, which is known as prefix function. It can get quite confusing as in why this algorithm works and why is it very efficient. So I insist you to watch this entire video to get a clear understanding of this algorithm and level up your algorithms game. With that said, let's get started. Prefix function is denoted by the symbol pi. Given a string s, pi of I denotes the length of longest proper prefix which is equal to the proper suffix which is ending at position I. Proper prefix means that the substring which starts at position 0 but does not include the last character. And proper suffix means that the substring which ends at position I, say if you're finding the suffix for position I, but does not include the first element which is at position 0. We need to find the length of the longest proper prefix which matches the suffix which ends at I. So let's take the example given over here. So S is given over here of size 10 and we need to compute the prefix function on this string. So here I will vary from 0 to 9 and we need to calculate the prefix values on all of these positions. So let's start with position 0. So pi of 0 will be 0 because there is only one character into consideration. There is no a proper prefix, neither a proper suffix, because this character is the first and the last character is taken into consideration. Whenever we consider pi of I, we only consider the string up till I. That is why we are taking the suffix which ends at I. We don't care about the characters which come after position I. So now let's move on to I is equal to 1. Here the pi value will be again 0 because the prefix which is B and the suffix which is A are not equal, and this is the only proper prefix and suffix possible. Moving on, pi of 2 will be 1 because the prefix of length 1 B is equal to suffix of length 1 which is B. Prefix of length 2 which will be BA will not be equal to suffix of length 2 which is AB. So the longest prefix is 1. Next, for I is equal to 3, the value of pi will be 2 because the prefix of this length 2 over here will be equal to the suffix of length 2. Next, for I is equal to 4, the pi value will be 3 because the prefix of length 3 which is BAB will be equal to the suffix of length 3 which is again BAB. And for the next position, the prefix value will be 4. So BABA will be equal to BABA. And for the next position, we see that we have a new character here. And so there must be no prefix which equals this character. So the pi value should here be 0. And moving on, for 7, our pi value will be 1 since the only suffix which matches the prefix is of length 1 which is B, and for the next position it will be 1 again, and for the last position it will be of length 2. So this is the meaning of the prefix function pi, and if you see pi of n minus 1 which is pi of 9 will give me the longest prefix which matches the longest suffix, which in this case is 2. So BA is the longest prefix and matches the suffix again with BA. Now that we have understood what prefix function is, let's understand how can we calculate this prefix array and how can we find it very efficiently. One of the naive approaches we can adopt is that we can consider a position I, say I is equal to 5. The size of this sub array is 6, 0 to 5. So we will iterate starting from length L is equal to 5 since we need a proper prefix. So we will check if for this length 5 is the prefix from 0 to 4 matches the suffix from 1 to 5. If not, then we check length 4. If this doesn't match, we check length 3 and so on. So the complexity for this naive approach will be O of n cube. We are iterating from the first index to the last index to calculate the pi value for every position. Then for every position I, we are iterating over all the lengths from length I to length 0, and for every length we are checking if the prefix of that particular length matches the suffix at that particular length. So in total a complexity becomes O of n cube. Can we do better than this naive approach? Yes, we can, and in fact we can do this in just order of O of n, and let's see how we can just do that. There is a very interesting property that is associated with this prefix array, which is that the pi value at any position I plus 1 must be less than or equal to the pi position at value I plus 1. What this essentially means that our pi value increases by at most 1. Do note here that a pi value can drop immediately to 0, but from previous value it can increase by only up to 1 value. As you can see in this example here, pi of 0 is 0, pi of 1 is 0, there's no increase. Pi of 2 is 1, and then which is 2, 3, 4, all having increase of 1, and suddenly drops to 0, and again increases by 1, remains the same, and increases by 1. So we can say that our pi value at most increases by 1. Let's say a string is something like this: S0, S1, S2, and then Si minus 2, Si minus 1, Si, and Si plus 1. And let's say the pi value at I plus 1 position denotes a suffix somewhere over here and the matching prefix of somewhere over here. So the length of this will be pi of I plus 1. Now say we delete our last character, that is we delete our S of I plus 1. Now in the corresponding prefix, since these both are matching, the last character of over here must be equal to S of I plus 1. So S of I plus 1. So we're deleting even this element. The remaining length is pi of I plus 1 minus 1. So we have deleted the last character in both the prefix and the suffix. Now a new prefix will also be equal to a new suffix since it were matching previously. Now since pi of I gives my longest prefix suffix match, this prefix suffix match which ends at S of I must be less than or equal to pi of I. That is to say, pi of I, my longest prefix suffix match ending at I, must be at least pi of I plus 1 minus 1. And as you can see, we have proved our property. So a prefix array grows by at most value 1. Now let's see how we can efficiently compute pi of I. Let's consider a string such as this: 0, S0, S1, S2, S of I minus 3, S of I minus 2, S of I minus 1. Let's consider the prefix suffix match denoted by pi of I minus 1. So let's say this is the suffix, longest suffix, and say this is the longest matching prefix of size pi of I minus 1. Now we need to find the value of pi of I. So say S of I, we need to find the longest prefix suffix match which ends at S of I. So what we can do is we can extend pi of I minus 1, that is the suffix ending at S minus 1, to Si. So say I extend this suffix over here. Now if I extend this suffix by one element, can I extend my prefix also by one element? So say there's an element over here. Can I also extend my prefix? So we check whether this element in the prefix that we have added equals s of I. So the position of the element that we're extending is pi of I minus 1. The length of the prefix is pi of I minus 1, and if you're considering zero based index, so say if pi of I minus 1 is 3, then this position will be 0, 1, 2 and 3. So if s of I equals s of pi of I minus 1, then pi of I is equal to pi of I minus 1 plus 1. So what we do, we find the longest prefix suffix match of the previous element and check whether can we extend that match by one element. So what do we do if the character at pi of I minus 1 does not match this s of I character? Obviously now we will have to look at some shorter suffix which ends at I minus 1. So previously we found the longest suffix that matches the prefix. Now we need to find the second longest suffix which ends at I minus 1 that matches the prefix, and then check whether the next element in that prefix equals s of I. To explain this better, let me consider this string from s of 0 to s of I. Let's say for a suffix ending at I minus 1 of arbitrary size matches the prefix with the same length, and let's denote this length by L. So L is the length of any suffix ending at s of I minus 1 such that the prefix matches. The element right after this prefix is s of L, and if s of L matches s of I, that means this new suffix can be a possible answer for pi of I. So initially we had taken L to be pi of I minus 1, which is the longest suffix possible ending at I minus 1, and we checked whether this s of L matched with s of I. If it did, we have found the answer to be 1 greater than the pi of s of I minus 1. If s of L is not equal to s of I, we need to find a next greatest value of L. Let's say the next greatest value is k. So even the prefix that matches will be of length k. So k is the largest suffix that matches the prefix ending at position I minus 1, which is less than L. That is the next best possible length. Now for this possible length k, the element right after the prefix for this will be s of k. So we will compare string at position k with s of I. If this is equal, then our answer will be k plus 1, right? And if this is not equal, then we set our length L to k and find k again, and do this process until L becomes 0. In a nutshell, what we are trying to do is we are trying to find the longest suffix which matches the prefix that ends at I minus 1 and see if we can extend it to s of I. If we can extend it, then that's the answer. If we cannot, we find the next best length and so on. So our idea is very simple, and we just have to see if we can elongate the suffix at I minus 1 to I. Now let's see how we can find k. That is, given a length L, we have to find the longest suffix less than L which is matching with the prefix. There is something very interesting to observe over here. Now this prefix of length L was exactly same as this suffix of length L. So say we found a suffix of length K in a larger suffix. Wouldn't that be also present in the prefix of length L? The same suffix of length K that we have found, won't it be also present over here? It will be, because both this prefix and suffix of length L are equal. So any suffix of length less than L, which is ending at position I minus 1, will also be the suffix of the same length and ending at this position S of L minus 1. So any suffix over here must also be the suffix over here. And we need this longest suffix which matches the prefix. So that is simply pi of L minus 1. So K will be equal to pi of L minus 1. L minus 1 is this entire prefix denoted over here, and we take the longest prefix suffix match over here. So we now know how to calculate K, and hence now we can calculate pi of I as well. So let's look at the pseudocode for this algorithm, and also I will tell you how the complexity for this algorithm will be O of n. So this is the code for finding the prefix function. First off, we start by initializing pi of 0 as 0. Then we run a loop from I1 to n minus 1, and in the loop we calculate the value for pi of I. As discussed previously, I will find the length of the largest suffix ending at I minus 1, which matches the prefix. So that will be pi of I minus 1. So L is equal to pi of I minus 1. We have this while loop over here, which will find the greatest suffix ending at I, which matches the prefix, and that the suffix can be extended to the ith position. So what we're doing is that unless and until L is greater than 0 and the ith position does not match with the element right after the prefix, corresponding prefix, which will be at position S of L, we keep iterating over to the next best length for the suffix, which, as we have discussed previously, would be the same pi L of L minus 1. We have said that K is equal to pi of L minus 1, and this K will be a new L, and that is what we are doing over here. And once we break out of this while loop, we check if that last character S of I matched with the element right after the prefix that we had found. That means we can extend that prefix or the suffix by 1, and that will be our answer. Otherwise, if no such prefix suffix match was found, our length L would have been automatically 0 and pi of I would have assigned the value 0. And so this is how the code for prefix function looks like. Now let's see what the complexity of this will be. This for loop runs n times, so our complexity must be n plus something. Now inside this for loop we have this while loop. So the worst case possible scenario is that a while loop goes all the way up to 0. So this while loop can run also for O of n times. So it seems as if this algorithm runs an n square solution. However, this algorithm only runs at O of n. Why is it so? This is because of the first property that we saw, that the pi value can increase by at most 1. So if we look at the graph for position I versus pi, I0, pi value 0. Now for I equal to 1, the value can increase by maximum 1. So say it was something like this. And then say it was constant, increase by 1, increase by 1, and then further decrease completely. And then increased, remain constant, increase, decreased. So if you unfold this while loop for all I1 to n minus 1, that is, if you count the total number of iterations that has been run in this while loop for every I from 1 to n minus 1, that will be of order n minus 1. Over here, as you can see, the number of iterations for the while loop will be maximum, since that's the biggest drop for the pi value to 0. Say this drop was some value t. Now, to come back to this value t, there has to be at least t iterations in this for loop so as to get the value of pi as t. And because of this, the sum of the number of iterations of while loop across the outer for loop must be in the order of n. Before we finish off, let's just quickly run this algorithm on this example array. Starting off, we know that pi of 0 is 0. For calculating pi of 1, we look at the substring 0 and compare pi of 1 with pi of 0. So pi of 1 is not equal to pi of 0, and so our length again must be 0. Now moving on, I value is 2. So for I is equal to 2, we consider pi of 1. So pi of 1 is 0. And so we compare s of 2 with s of 0, which is true. So our answer will be 0 plus 1, which is 1. Now for I is equal to 3, we take pi of 2. Pi of 2 is 1. And s of 1 is a, which is equal to s of 3. So our answer will be 1 plus 1, 2. Same thing over here. We take I is equal to 4. Pi of 3 is 2. So at second position we have a b which matches this b. So our answer will be 2 plus 1, 3. The same thing for here goes as well. So pi of 5 minus 1, that is 4, which is 3, and at s of 3 we have a which matches a current element. So 3 plus 1, 4. Now for I is equal to 6, we take pi of 5, which is 4, and at position 4 we have a b which doesn't match our current element c. So now we had L as equal to pi of 5, which is equal to 4, and s of 4 did not match s of 6. So now our new L value will be equal to pi of 4 minus 1, which is 3. So pi of 3 is 2, and s of 2, which is a, again does not match c. So now our L will be again pi of 2 minus 1, which is 1, and pi of 1 is 0, and s of 0, which is b, again does not match c. So we cannot bring down L further, and so our answer over here will be 0. Moving on, we have I is equal to 7 and pi of 6, which is 0. So at 0 we have b, and so we have b over here. So the answer here will be 0 plus 1, 1. For position 8, pi of 7 is 1. At index 1 we have a which doesn't match b. So we check pi of this previous position, pi of 0, and that matches. So again it will be 1. Here we have I is equal to 9. So pi of 8 is 1. At position 1 we have a which matches, and so our answer is 2. So here it is, guys. I have explained to you how exactly does prefix function works, what is the logic behind it, so that you don't have to remember this algorithm ever again and be well versed with this algorithm. In my next video, I will be explaining how we can use prefix functions KNP algorithm. You will be amazed to see how easy and simple KMP algorithm really is. Guys, please do like this video and hit the subscribe button below. See you in my next video.